How to spot envy in friendships. When envy in friendships grow, it is often very subtle. Sometimes it'll leave you feeling like you're hurt, confused. You're trying to figure out what happened. Sometimes you'll even look at yourself as if, did I do something wrong? Why is the vibe off? Why are we not connecting like we used to? And a lot of times when envy grows in friendships, it's because one friend is suddenly become envious of the other friend's progression. How can you tell that your friendship, somebody is becoming envious and or jealous toward you? There are often 9 subtle signs that tend to get overlooked because some people are accustomed to other people just being backhanded or making little sarcastic remarks. But when somebody grows envious of you, number one, backhanded compliments are usually their norm. So let's say, for example, you get a new job. They'll congratulate you and say, congrats on the new job. I'm surprised you got hired there because they don't typically hire people that don't have, that much experience. That was a backhanded compliment. They knew exactly what they were doing. They congratulated you on the one hand, but then on the second side, they wanted to give you that little pinprick, trying to get you to doubt yourself and believe that somehow you shouldn't be there. When they said you're there despite not having the experience, that was a backhanded compliment. Another example of that is that, let's say you get invited to a networking event or you get invited to something that's in regards to your looks. They could say, oh, wow, they asked you to do that? I'm so happy for you. I'm glad they're starting to go with a different type of woman. Like, what does that mean? Backhanded compliment. So the number one sign that your friend may be growing envious of you is that they begin to offer you backhanded compliments. Number one. Number 2 sign, and I did take a few notes so that I can keep things in order because there are 9 things here. 9 signs that your friend is growing envious of you, or how to spot an envious friend, is that lack of support and enthusiasm. When a friend is growing envious towards you, oftentimes they lack the enthusiasm, the joy, the happiness about whatever it is you're doing. It will be absolutely dead silence, dead energy. So for example, if you tell a friend you won the lottery, I'm going to give you the most extreme example. If you tell a friend you won the lottery, you won $500,000, that's not a normal thing to happen to anyone. And when that happens, you tell your friend and they say, oh, okay, well, good job, good for you. Or let's be more realistic. Let's say you got a promotion on your job. They'll say, oh, okay, that's good. That's good. Anyway, it's like they don't give any time, attention, any kind of energy into the happiness you are displaying. They don't match your energy in a positive way. The number 2 sign you can tell, and for me, this should have been number 1, that you can tell a friend is growing envious of you. They lack enthusiasm and support about the positive things that you're doing. It's starting to become difficult for them to receive your good news because they are growing bitter, resentful, and envious of you. It's like the more positive things you tell them, the more they back away from you. You could tell them that, my child just graduated. I'm about to graduate. And they'll say, oh, that's nice. Or what they'll do when they're actually trying to, somehow make it seem like it's no big deal what you're doing, they'll compare you to somebody else. They'll say, oh, yeah, so-and-so kid, he goes there too. He graduated last year. Dumbing down your experience because they are envious of what you're doing. So when they lack the energy and the motivation, they don't have that same kind of joy and enthusiasm about your positive things as you do. That is the number 2 sign, which should be number 1, that your friend is growing envious of you. Number 2. The number 3 thing that you can tell, the number 3 way you can tell that your friend is growing more envious of you, they get very passive aggressive. When a friend is growing envious of you, envious towards you, they can no longer just speak to you directly about something that bothered them. Now they have to create tension, create bad vibes, so that you feel their disgust for you while not saying anything. Women are often good for this when they're envious and or jealous of other women. Instead of bringing up something that you might have did or said or something they perceive in their mind, because believe it or not, when people are envious of you, They often create scenarios in their mind. They try to look at everything that you do as being malicious in nature. They suddenly get highly offended at everything you do. And when an envious person gets highly offended at everything you do, they will grow to be passive aggressive. So that will come with the silent treatment. That will come with distancing themselves from you. That will come with not inviting you to certain events. You know, you're their best friend, you're their best colleague, you're their best cousin, and they normally want you to be at certain functions. But when they grow envious of you and envious of how you're moving, suddenly they get distant. They no longer invite you to those events. They start being quiet about the different things happening in their lives because now they feel judged by you. When somebody partakes in passive aggressive behavior because of their envy and or jealousy towards you, their goal is to block you out of their lives so that they can feel comfortable. And if that person was once your friend or you still consider them a friend, that might come off as very hurtful. But from personal experience, I can tell you that is absolutely what happens when people grows envious of you. They get very passive aggressive, they get very triggered very easily, and they suddenly don't want you around. They start giving you the silent treatment, they start getting upset with you about little things, and you're left wondering if you don't recognize the signs of envy or that somebody's developing envy towards you, you will blame that on yourself. But for people who have unchecked envy and you're their friend, instead of coming to you and talking about how they feel, they just get passive aggressive. I'm stressing this because with women, this tends to be the typical dynamic between women when one starts growing envious and or jealous. So the number 3 sign that your friend or a person in your life is growing envious of you is that they get passive aggressive. They look for ways to be offended by you. They try to disconnect their contact with you by growing distant or having the silent treatment. And they also just act like you don't exist and they stop inviting you to different events. And a little bit of a sidebar, as confident, self-motivated, self-validated women, we don't care if we don't get invited to events. But as people, just our humanness, especially if you didn't see that coming, it can be hurtful when somebody starts treating you in a passive aggressive manner, and it's okay to acknowledge that. So number 3 sign that your friend is growing envious of you, they start acting in a passive aggressive nature. The number 4 way that you can tell a friend is growing envious of you is that they start competing with you. I've talked about this in previous videos, but when it comes to the signs of envy and jealousy, competition tends to overlap. When a friend starts becoming envious of you, everything becomes a competition. It's suddenly where you two are not working together, you two are working against one another. She's now suddenly in a race to prove to you that she's just as good as you, if not better than you. Bear in mind, this is a one-sided race. You didn't ask to be in this competition with your friend. But when she's growing envious of you, everything she sees you do, it is her goal to do it better. It is her goal to prove that you're not the only one who can accomplish this. You're not the only one who can look this way. You're not the only one who can do whatever. When a woman, especially a woman who calls herself your friend, grows envious of you, everything is a competition. Number 4. The number 5 way you can tell that a friend is growing envious of you is that she starts criticizing you and belittling you every chance she gets. She might constantly criticize your decisions. She might criticize your career choices. She might criticize every little thought and action and pattern, mannerism. She just starts to become very critical of you because she's growing envious of you. This is a woman or a friend in your life who might not have had an issue with the way you speak. But now that you speak properly and you're a professor or you're a teacher or you're a mentor or a coach, now she suddenly has an issue with your voice. Now suddenly she's telling you, you need to stop speaking that way because it's making other people feel uncomfortable. But she never brought those things up until you got into a position where that gift and skill, your nature, your ability to be able to speak properly and then to speak in slang or what have you, Now you have an opportunity attached to that trait, and now she's being critical of it. Women who grow envious of other women in general, but especially friends who grow envious of you, the very positive traits that have benefited you as a woman will suddenly become problematic for them. And I just use the voice as an example, but it could be anything. If suddenly now, she had no issue with you constantly going to the gym and talking about fitness, but the moment your body is starting to look a little too good, suddenly you start getting more focused on your nutrition and you've kind of amped it up a little bit, that's when she starts criticizing you. It's because now she's starting to see the result of the discipline. She's starting to see the result of everything you two talked about. As women, when women get envious of other women, when things get too real in your life, when suddenly they see you not just talking and you're actually putting action behind the things that you talk to them about, they will grow very envious, because for them, it was just little chit chat. It was just little girl talk. They never expected you to really work on your personal development. And when you do, sometimes your friends can grow envious of you. Other women in general will grow envious of you. When you do the things that they lack the discipline to do, they may suddenly grow envious and start being hypercritical, overcritical of the things that you do. So the number 5 sign that you can tell a friend, a woman in general, is growing envious of you, she suddenly becomes very critical and starts belittling everything that you do. Number 5. The number 6 way you can tell a woman is growing envious of you, your friend is growing envious of you, is that she starts gloating about your setbacks. The things that you go through suddenly become very entertaining for her. She suddenly gets a kick out of your setbacks, out of your failures, out of any kind of drama that might be happening in your life. Suddenly she's getting a kick out of those things. She actually starts to gloat about those things. And that is not right. If that's your friend, that's a definite red flag. When a person who calls themselves your friend suddenly starts gloating in your failures, in your downfalls, that person is growing envious and or jealous of you. A friend, a person who's not envious, they would see you go through something and they would try to comfort you and reassure you that everything is going to be okay. They might offer advice on what you can do better. They might try to amp you up by getting your mind off of the negative thing that happened. But when a woman grows envious of you, when your friend starts growing envious of you, she will suddenly start gloating in your downfall, and she'll make it her mission to tell you, see, I told you this was going to happen. I told you so. She starts running in the I told you so Olympics. She is the type of woman who grows envious, bitter, and resentful toward a woman, and then when you have a failure, that's her time to shine. That's her time to show you that she was right and you were wrong, even if the scenario really doesn't warrant that. Women, and this ties back to number 3, when they're looking to be offended, when they're looking to come at you in some way, they will even use your failures to rub in your face. A woman, a friend who is growing envious of you, she can't wait to tell you the reason why she knew whatever it is in your life was going to fail. I have also been in that very awkward and uncomfortable situation, and I can tell you it's no fun. People like that, you definitely don't want to be around. And something like that, while I do believe in forgiveness and redemption and all of that, a person who takes every opportunity they get to brag on your downfall and to gloat in your failings or the things that are happening negatively in your life, those are people who are envious and have a toxic spirit, in my opinion, and you need to cut them off or distance yourself from them. So an example of a woman, a friend who's growing envious of you, and she starts to gloat in your downfalls. Let's say you're a college student and you fail a class and you all are taking the same class. If you fail, before she might have told you, hey, well, you know what, you'll do better, I'll help you study, I'll help you do this. She'll say things to you like, oh, I thought you had it all together. Oh, I thought you had, you have a good relationship with the professor. What happened? I'm surprised. See, that passive aggressive with the gloating about the failure, it all ties in. Things like that as women, because I can hear someone now saying, why do you even care about those kind of things? Why you shouldn't even focus on that negativity? The issue with thinking like that is that when you're not aware of what's happening to you, you don't know how to protect yourself. And then there are some women who internalize everything and make it their fault. It's my job to have you recognize the red flags in envious, toxic people and not make it about yourself. A lot of women, I think women in general, we just like to internalize things and make it seem like we are always to blame. And sometimes they are the problem. And it's okay to recognize that. So the number 6 sign, I believe, that your friend is growing envious of you, she starts gloating, getting excited about your failures and your downfalls. Number 6. The number 7 way you can tell a woman is growing envious of you, your friend is growing envious of you, is that she starts distancing herself from you. She starts putting distance between you, pulling away from you. Suddenly she gets uncomfortable being around you and going to certain places with you. Now suddenly she acts like, you two are not on the same level. She suddenly feels judged by you. And this ties in with number 3. I had to sip some of my water because my throat is getting dry. I've been dealing with that a lot lately. I think it's my allergies. So if you see me sip water a lot in between, it's because I'm starting to get dried out. That happens to me often during the summer months. I appreciate your patience and cooperation. But the number 7 way you can tell a friend is growing envious and or jealous of you, she starts to pull away from you. Instead of calling you to go to different places, she suddenly starts going by herself. Instead of, asking your opinion about different things or telling you about things that she knows you would be interested in, she keeps it to herself. You have to find it out through other people. When people start suddenly distancing themselves from you and you did absolutely nothing wrong to them, that is a sign, especially someone that you call friend, that is a sign that they are growing envious of you. If they can't stand to be in your presence, they feel uncomfortable. And as women, our intuition tells us when the vibe is off. Our intuition tells us when something has changed. You can tell with a friend, a person you might call your best friend, when the vibe feels off and they start distancing themselves from you. Suddenly they're not inviting you to lunch. Suddenly they're not inviting you to the events. Suddenly they're doing things alone, or they prefer to do things alone before they have you go with them. Maybe even things that are important, things they would have called you about before, like looking for a house, looking for an apartment, looking for a car, looking for, an outfit for an event. Now she doesn't want your input. She doesn't want you there. And if you offer, she gets upset and just makes an excuse why she doesn't need you to be there. Or she'll act like she canceled the plans altogether because having you there makes her feel uncomfortable. Ladies, when a friend, especially a woman, grows envious of you, she will start distancing herself from you because she feels uncomfortable in your presence. Not because of anything that you did, but her own insecurity is screaming at the top of its lungs in her head, and she can't stomach being around you. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes when women start to grow envious of other women, or when your friend who's a woman starts to grow envious of you. It's sad, but for a lot of women, it has been a reality. So number 7 sign, you can tell a friend is growing envious of you, they start pulling away from you. Number 7. The number 8 sign that a friend, a woman, is growing envious of you, she is constantly negative and complaining all the time. Have you ever been around a friend? I have to give you a little story. Have you ever been around a friend who you could be telling the most positive story to? You could be telling them about something exciting that happened in your life, or not even things about yourself. Because I understand a lot of people will get turned off by somebody always talking about themselves. But you could be talking about something positive that happened in the world. I know there's not much, but there are some things. You could be talking in very general terms. They will always see the negative in everything that you say. And even if you begin to talk too much, they'll start complaining about that. Things that they were once fine with, You might have always talked about birds. You might have always talked about jewelry. You might have always talked about hair, nails, fashion, what have you. Things that make you femininely you. And I say femininely you for a reason, but I'll get to that in a moment. When you talk about the things that you've always talked about, and suddenly they start spinning it in a negative way, start complaining, why are you always talking about this? I don't care about that. Why are you talking about this? You know why? It's because your joy and the things that you take pride in, the things that you show thankfulness and gratitude in, they don't appreciate those things anymore because now your outlook is changing your life. See, a lot of women don't even realize. Sometimes we look at the bigger things like jewels, cars, houses, land, things like that. We look at those things as if those are the most important things, as if those are the things that people typically like to envy in other people. It's not always that. When a friend or a woman's growing envious towards you, it could be because of your outlook on life. If you have a positive outlook on life, when you are not negative and pessimistic, when you are not the kind of woman who's always seeing the negative in everything, if your friend is starting to grow envious of you, suddenly your positive nature will rub her the wrong way. When somebody's growing bitter and resentful towards you, they don't want to hear anything positive coming out of your mouth. It's because your positivity is not feeding their negativity. They need two negatives to make it right. And if you're not doing enough of that for them, they start to grow envious of you. Unfortunately, I have experienced and witnessed this situation as well. Some women can only be friends with women if they are bitter, miserable, tired, and always complaining. And if you are not like that, or if you've suddenly just started thinking different, you've had a mindset shift, don't be surprised if your friend is non-existent, if they grow envious and suddenly just don't want to be around you. Some women can only relate to toxicity. Some women can only relate to negativity. And if you are not that type of woman, or you used to be that kind of woman, but you're no longer that way, don't be surprised if your friend suddenly grows envious of you and she doesn't want to have anything to do with you. And honestly, if somebody only wants to deal with you because you feed their negativity, that is not a healthy friendship, and that is not somebody you need to be around anyway, in my humble opinion. So the number 8 sign that you can tell your friend or a woman is growing envious of you, she suddenly gets very negative, starts complaining, and your positivity just rubs her the wrong way, and she distances herself, which in my opinion, that's perfectly fine. And lastly, the number 8 sign you can tell a friend is growing envious and or resentful towards you is that they start talking behind your back. When a friend is growing envious of you, when they're growing jealous of you, you will suddenly start hearing things about yourself said by the person you least expect. There's nothing more hurtful than to hear that somebody you consider a friend is going around gossiping and spreading slander about you. But when a friend, a woman, is growing envious of you, suddenly everything that's going on in your life, she highlights that to other people. She starts telling you when you might have gotten behind on bills, or you might have, got turned down for a job interview, or you might be having a tough time in your relationship, or she might even spin things around to make things seem worse than what they are. Women who are envious of other women, they are masters at exaggerating situations to make things appear worse than what they are. And it's because that makes them feel better about themselves. When a woman who once considered herself your friend grows envious of you, she will always, if not always, start talking behind your back. And in my opinion, that is when the relationship has severed. When a friend no longer respects you, because that comes down to respect, when they no longer respect you to the point where they start airing your business to other people, and sometimes they'll talk to people that don't even like you. And sometimes women, and I just have to say how it is, they can be so bitter, so miserable, and or toxic that they will deliberately seek out the people who like you the least and give them all of your personal information. They will go to family members that they know you do not vibe with, that they don't care for you for some reason, and start airing out all of your dirty laundry. Unfortunately, this is the risk you take when you become friends with a person who has hidden envy or develops envy over time. So what can you do as a woman to safeguard yourself from friends who may grow envious of you? Number one, as I have always said, I choose quality over quantity. I don't believe, and this is just my opinion, I don't believe that you can truly be best friends with 10, 15 women. I don't know how people can do that. I don't know how you can spread your time, your attention, and really care that much about 15 people and give them the adequate attention and get together, unless they're your children. For me, just to have that intimate relationship and to have a good rapport, I don't think you can do that with 10, 15 females at once. Over a lifetime, yes, but all at once, I don't believe that's possible. But some women, because they like the aesthetic, they like the look of having a lot of girls around them, the girls, a lot of friends around them, that's often when you have opportunity or you leave the door open for envious, jealous people to come into your life. So quality over quantity. If you have 2 or 3, 4, 5 girlfriends tops that you are very close to, I'm not saying you can't have a bunch of associates and people you know in passing, but I mean women who are like your inner circle. 5 or 6 tops. But when you have a lot of women around you, I have to say, in my experience and from the experience of other people I know, that opens up the opportunity to deal with jealous, envious haters. And the older you get, the less you want to deal with that. That's the reason why a lot of women choose to just be by themselves. The number 2 way you can protect yourself from envious, jealous people so that you're not befriending envious women unknowingly, the way I believe, and I will always come back to that, you have to ask God for discernment and wisdom on who you allow into your life. Not to be preachy or anything, but I believe in a scripture that says bad company corrupts good morals. Meaning if you surround yourself with people who have bad traits, have toxic traits, nobody's perfect, but if you surround yourself with people who have that spirit of jealousy, envy, lying dormant in them, it's only a matter of time before they sabotage and disrupt your life in some way. So your discernment and your wisdom has to be a little heightened so that you're not inviting people in who have that spirit in them and they're just waiting to use it against you. And the number 3 way I believe you can protect yourself from inadvertently befriending envious women or even getting to that point is to be more private. I have said this in a lot of my videos, but as women, I truly believe we need to treat ourselves as more sacred. Some women give all of their information to anybody who will listen, and that is not wise. That is not what feminine, wise women do. We do not open ourselves up to anybody who will listen. And sometimes because women are so desperate for friendship, so desperate for the girl's girl, they open themselves up to snakes that use everything that you told them against you at a later date. So being more private, having quality over quantity friendships, and then making sure that you have a spiritual connection, be connected to God the way I believe it, so that you have discernment and wisdom and intuition to protect you, so that you know when you're in the midst of someone who might not really be a friend, they're just an undercover hater, or they're developing envy and jealousy towards you. Now, believe it or not, envy can be worked out. If a friend is starting to grow envious or jealous of you, and I know this might not be popular because we're in the just cut off generation, and I am with the cut off sometimes, but envy and jealousy, they are natural emotions that everybody feels from time to time or have felt. It shouldn't be your whole personality, but feeling that way from time to time is not abnormal. It becomes an issue when it becomes your entire personality. But if a friend is growing envious or jealous of you, and they bring that to your attention because they don't want to hurt you, they don't want to mistreat you, they don't want you to feel like you've done something wrong, and they're telling you, I'm sorry I've been acting weird. You know, when you got the job, that really made me feel bad about myself because I don't understand why it's not happening for me. If a friend is mature enough, and a lot of women today, unfortunately, they don't have that kind of maturity to just come out and say how they feel to a friend, especially a female friend. But if they do have that kind of maturity, as confident, wise, feminine women are nurturing, loving, and forgiving nature, if you feel led, you should listen to your friend, encourage them, and reassure them that they don't need to be jealous of you. They don't need to be envious of you. They don't need to feel any kind of way around you because you're there as a friend. You're not their competition. You're there to support them and they're there to support you. But does that happen in a lot of female friendships? Unfortunately not. But it's not impossible. So that is one way that you can actually get past envy and sometimes jealousy in friendships that you want to hold on to. Like and subscribe to the channel and share this content. Hit the notification bell so that you're aware when I post a brand new video. If you watch this video until the very end, put the high heel emoji in the comments section. I absolutely love to see it. Take care.